Season 1, Episode 5 of All's Fair on Hulu really fell flat for me, unfortunately. And if you watch my past reviews of this show, then you know I was really starting to actually like this show, especially after Episode 4. I feel like they really built us up for a whodunit with the whole Emerald Green storyline of being SA'd. I wanted to continue on that path of a whodunit. And also, I've been yearning to learn more about Carrington Lane, played by Sarah Paulson. And we did delve into her character more and we got a little bit of backstory, but it was not enough for me. I am still confused by her character. But if you're new here, let me introduce myself. My name is Brandy and I realize that you could be on any channel in the world, but you're right here with me and I really do appreciate that. So please go ahead and like this video. It really does help the channel out and I greatly appreciate it. And also subscribe to the channel if you do like watching TV show reviews and also movie reviews. So episode 5 opens up with us finding out that Carrington Lane is a mom. And she could have fooled me. I never got any mom vibes from her. It doesn't look like she has snacks in her pocket. She don't have a mom voice. Nothing about her screamed mom. But anyway, we see her driving her 12-year-old daughter, Ami, to school. And they're having a discussion about her birthday party this weekend. And Carrington is telling her, like, listen, you know, I'm really sorry that I can't make your birthday party this weekend. I have arbitration. I have back-to-back client meetings. I'm sorry I can't be there, but who do you want to invite? And her 12-year-old daughter is like, I'm going to invite Phil. Phil is their nanny, and she wants to invite her violin teacher. And Carrington is like, do you want to invite anybody that's under the age of 65 years old? So it's at that point that we find out that her daughter is just a bit socially awkward, especially when Carrington drops her off at school. We see that other kids are just socializing with each other, but Car's daughter isn't talking to anybody. So she's a little bit socially awkward, but she doesn't seem too bothered by it, in my opinion. The young lady seems very confident. In fact, she doesn't appear that she's even bothered that Carrington cannot attend her birthday bash this weekend. She's like, okay, mom, whatever. Basically, she's a snarky preteen, okay? And now we get to see the divorce case of the week. And the client this week is Julianne Morse, played by Brooke Shields. And I couldn't help but wonder, how much are they paying these big name actors to appear on this show? I mean, they have so many cameos on this show, it's ridiculous. But I did hear that they had about a $70 million budget, so the budget is big for casting. But Julianne Morse, she hires these ladies because she's filing for divorce from her husband that she's been married to for 40 years. He has early onset Alzheimer's and she admitted him into a full-time facility about a year ago. But that's not enough for her. She wants to live her life. She met him when she was only 18 years old. She was an undergrad and he was doing his residency. Right after she graduated from undergrad, she became a mom. And then, I mean, her life just went to the back burner, right? Her whole life was about supporting him, his dreams, his goals, and just being a mom. And she tells the ladies, listen, he doesn't even recognize me. When I went to see him yesterday, he thought I was the nurse. And she also tells the ladies that her daughter is the appointed guardian because her husband, he can't function cognitively, so the daughter makes all of the decisions for him. However, her daughter does not want to grant the divorce because she doesn't want her mom abandoning her dad. And I have mixed feelings on this. I really do. About 80% of me is like, damn, that's effed up. Like, for real, you took those vows for better or worse, and now your husband is sick and you want to jump ship. And I say that because she was very happy with him. She was in love. She doesn't have any resentment towards him. But on the flip side of things, I could actually understand that she wants to live her own life. She doesn't want to be a caretaker. She wants to travel freely, meet new people. And some people do take their vows seriously. Maybe she does want to move on and meet a new love, but being that she's tied down to a marriage, then she can't really move on properly because she's married, right? She's binded to him. And you could tell that Dena, her wheels are turning, right? Because she's in a similar situation where her husband, Dougie, is sick. And from what I see with Dena and Dougie's relationship, Dena will never leave Dougie. After that meeting with their client, Julianne, we see that Alora, Liberty, Dena, and Emerald, they're in the study and they're going through their client's prenuptial agreement. And they all agree that the prenup is highly inequitable if honored. And they think that their client deserves so much more. And on that same topic of people getting what they deserve, they segue into asking Emerald, how is she? And they tell her that we need to talk about it. It meaning the SA that she experienced, and also her attacker unaliving himself, allegedly, right? But Emerald, she doesn't want to talk about it. She says, listen, justice has prevailed, and I'm cool as a cucumber. Let's just focus on this case. So then we see Dena. Dena's very passionate about this case because, again, I think it hits the trigger for her. And Dena says out loud, for better or worse, for sickness and in health, if Julianne, the client, didn't mean those vows, then why did she take those vows? And also, why the heck did she sign this prenuptial agreement? But they all agree that the best strategy that they can take is just to use heartfelt persuasion on the client's daughter, just to try to get the client's daughter to change her mind and to try to understand the mom, Julianne's point of view a little bit more and get the divorce to go through peacefully. And that's my issue with this show. Like, we never see them in a courtroom. I never see them talking to a judge. I never see them going down to a county. Everything is resolved like in the conference room. And I don't like that about this show, unfortunately. So they tell Liberty that she needs to take the lead on this emotional appeal. And they also tell her, but listen, don't let the client get wind that you're about to sign your own prenuptial agreement. And Liberty is like, no, I'm not. I'm not signing no prenuptial agreement. I didn't come this far and wait this long to get married just to be signing a prenup. I'm going forward with this marriage all in love. And they say, what about Mr. Reggie? Is he on the same page? And she says, abso-fucking-lutely. But then a few scenes later, we see that Reggie and her, they go to a very lavish dinner and he has prenuptial agreement paperwork right with him. And Liberty is stunned. She's looking at the paperwork like, oh my God, I wasn't anticipating him to make me sign a prenuptial agreement. But he tells her that it's in her best interest because he has different business deals. And if one of his businesses go belly up, he doesn't want her to suffer. But I'm wondering if Liberty is going to go back and tell her friends this because she sounded pretty confident that Reggie was on the same page, but Reggie definitely was not. Now we see Carrington. She's running through a lobby, about to go to a mediation meeting, and she is late. She sees her client Willow, played by Jennifer Morrison, and Carrington says, oh my God, I'm so sorry I'm late. The 405 was a nightmare. And Willow looks at her and says, you're late and you're sweating. Don't let it happen again. And then they proceed to go into the meeting. And before the meeting could even pick up steam and really get started, Carrington starts crying. And she starts sobbing because her iPhone memory pops up on her phone of her family. It's her daughter, and her daughter's dad. And Carrington is just sobbing in the meeting. And her client gives her a dirty look. And Carrington says, listen, I'm sorry. I'm just having a very rough week. And then Willow says to her, the client says, like, listen, what is wrong with you? And Carrington, that's where we see who Carrington really is, right? At first, I was thinking she met her match, but Carrington said, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me is that I'm human, unfucking like you. And then the client is about to fire Carrington, but Carrington says, oh, you can't fire me, bitch. I quit. And she gets up and she says, peace out, rotten hell, all that good shit, I'm out of here. And meanwhile, while Carrington is doing all of that, we see the opposing lawyer on the other side of the table, played by Lorraine Toussaint, and she's looking at Carrington in awe and in admiration, in my opinion, right? And this lawyer, her name was Alberta Dome. And we see Carrington, she goes outside to smoke a cigarette, and we see Alberta approaching her, and first they're talking to each other just a little bit, trying to find out if it's a beef between them. But everything smooths over, and Carrington offers her a cigarette. And Sarah Paulson just always smoking. She is in her movies and TV shows, right? But anyway, Alberta declines the cigarette, but then they get to chatting, and we find out that Alberta is also a single mother. She raised her son all on her own. So they both get to talk about their different parenting moves really quickly, right? Not too much of a long scene here. And then Alberta, she gets up to leave, but she gives Carrington her business card and says, use it when you need it. In this next scene, what was the reason? I did not need to see Carrington going to Chase's house. And all throughout this scene, I'm just wondering, are these the type of client meetings that Carrington goes to that cause her to miss her daughter's birthday and birthday parties? Like, this whole meeting with Chase was ridiculous. So she's at Chase's house. She's drinking a lot of wine with him, and they're exchanging very flirty glances with each other. And I'm just disgusted looking at this. I'm like, this is highly inappropriate, and they better not do nothing. But I'm like, again, what was the purpose of this? I'm like, did they just want us to see Chase, like, take all of his clothes off? But Carrington, she's talking about the divorce proceedings with Alora. She's asking him, does he have any more skeletons in his closet? Anything else that she should know about? And he's like, no, I don't have any more skeletons, I'm good. And then she asked him, what's up with his hair? She was like, your hair looks like a grease helmet. And he was like, I promise you that I do wash my hair frequently. And she says, what do you wash your hair with? Leftover baby oil from a Diddy freak off party? The lines they write for Carrington in this show are ridiculous. They're funny too, but it's a bit over the top. So she agrees to wash his hair for him, and he felt the need to just strip down almost naked. And I'm like, what was this for? Like, is this just for us to see Chase's body? I mean, I get it. He's attractive. He reminds me of a vampire. He looks like one of those guys from a vampire movie. Very pale, very nice facial features. But anyway, again, I did not need to see this scene. She starts washing his hair very sensually. She's all washing his chest and spraying water all over his body. It was so sensual, and I really thought that they was going to do something. But after she's done washing his hair, he tries to kiss her, and she declines. And I'm so happy that she did not go through and do anything with Chase for so many different reasons, okay? So when Carrington leaves, she gets pulled over by the police when she's driving home. She had way too much to drink. They made her blow into like the little breathalyzer machine, and she gets locked up. But who does she call? No other than Alberta Doan. So Alberta, she comes through, she bails Carrington out, and they have a conversation about Carrington becoming a partner. And Alberta just used her connection as being a single mom to kind of try to convince her. She's like, listen, at this rate, you know, when are you ever going to spend time with your daughter? By the time you really get a chance to spend time with your daughter, she's going to be old enough to start her own law firm. So, you know, let us partner up, work together, and you work less hours. And Carrington is like, well, what's in it for you? And Alberta confesses that she really wants to take Allura down. She says Allura has been taking a lot of her high-end clients and that she knows a lot of dirt on Allura. She said she got so much dirt on Allura that she could grow a garden. So I'm real curious to know what Alberta knows about Allura. So the ladies right then and there, they don't come to an agreement. Again, Carrington is just getting out of police custody, right? So I don't think she was too much in a mindset to talk business right then and there. But I'm glad that we get another character that's being introduced. And again, I like this actress, so I can't wait to see what she has up her sleeve and to see, again, what she has against Allura. Now we see Milan, played by Teyana Taylor, in Allura's office, and Allura is encouraging Milan to tell Chase that she's pregnant. And Milan is like, is it against the law if I don't tell him that I'm pregnant? Like, I want to do all of this on my own. I really don't need him to be involved. And Allura is like, no, it's not against the law, but it's the right thing to do. So Milan, she calls Chase up, and you can tell that Milan was nervous because she says, I'm pregnant with a baby. Like, well, what the hell else you pregnant with, right? But again, she probably was just nervous right then and there. But he seems kind of supportive in that moment. He's like, well, what do you need from me? You need emotional support. You need money. I got you anything you need. And she's like, this is my baby. I'm going to do things the way I want to do things. I don't need you for anything. And I'm like, whoa, Milan, that's not just your baby. That's his baby too. Like, you can't just be talking like that. But I do understand some women talk like that until that baby comes. But when that baby comes, you do want the dad to be involved. Why not have their father involved? Because Chase, he might be a hoe, but that don't mean that he gonna be a bad daddy. So Milan, she might be feeling that now because she's pregnant, but later on down the line when the baby actually comes, she'll have a change of heart and probably let Chase into the baby's life. Now we circle back to the divorce case of the week, and we see a mediation meeting occur between Julianne, the client, and her daughter Bethany. And you can tell that the daughter is so upset with her mom, and I feel for her. I cannot imagine being in her shoes. Her mom wants a divorce from her dad that's mentally not able to agree to the divorce, but the mom wants the prenup changed so she could get money out of the deal because the prenup is not equitable for her at all. So the daughter is just trying to advocate for her dad, and I really do not blame her. And Julianne, the mother, says to Bethany, like, listen, he doesn't even know who I am anymore. And Bethany says, how do you know that? How do you know that he doesn't know your smell? He doesn't know your voice, and he doesn't feel your presence in the room when you come see him. And the mom says, well, does he recognize you? Does he know your voice? And I feel like that really caught the daughter's attention. Then they embrace and they're both crying, and the mom says to her daughter, this is what daddy will want. If I wanted a divorce and daddy was capable, daddy would let me be free. I just want to travel. I want to live my dreams the same way that he got to. I'm not abandoning him. I'm not abandoning you. I just want out. And in that moment, they don't come to a financial agreement. The meeting ends. And we see Liberty talking to her client, Julianne. And Liberty asked her, like, why did you sign the prenup to begin with? And she says, because we were so much in love and the prenup was just a piece of paper. And his parents really wanted the prenup because they were paying for all of his college fees to become a doctor. So his parents wanted her to sign and she didn't really think anything of it. Again, they got married when she was like 18 years old. She didn't know what she was doing. But nonetheless, you could tell that this really struck a chord with Liberty. And we see her in the next scene where her boyfriend, Dr. Reggie, and Reggie pops up at her office to visit her. And she tells him that she signed the prenuptial agreement. She says that she combed over everything. She made a few tweaks, but all in all, it's pretty fair. And that she doesn't want to let a piece of paper come between their love. And again, just curious if she's going to give her friends an update because she was so against a prenuptial agreement. And then she went ahead and signed one. I mean, I really want to know what she's going to tell her girls. Now we see Carrington Lane with her daughter again in her office. And I really love seeing these two together. They are so similar, I tell you. But I really wanted to see Carrington talk about her upbringing in this episode as well. I want to know how she was raised because that's the real tea right there. How we become who we are as an adults, right? The childhood tells us a lot. But we didn't get that part of Car's backstory yet. And also the backstory that was missing is, again, why she hates Allura and Liberty so much. I mean, we learned on episode 1 that she was upset with the ladies because they veered off. They started their own law firm. But I really think that is more to the story. That can't be why she's so vile and so ignorant to these ladies. But anyway, she's in the office. She's talking to her daughter. She tells her daughter that she knows that her school sucks. And being that she's going into the 7th grade, that she could transfer. And it's very competitive to get into this new school. And you have to complete an essay. And by the way, her daughter seems very on board with transferring school. She doesn't seem to mind one bit. And Carrington says, well, listen, what do you want to write about? And she's like, she puts her arm up and she starts flashing her arms and looking at her arm. And Carrington is like, you want to write about how I'm a cutter and how I overcame that? I love it. So right then and there, it's revealed why Carrington is always wearing the gloves on her hands just to hide those scars. And I'm sure more of that story will resurface in later episodes. But Carrington is just coaching her daughter on what to say in the essay, how to start it off. And she's going into lawyer mode with coaching her daughter. But anyway, again, just love to see Carrington with her daughter. Anyway, just love seeing Carrington with her daughter. I did not need to see her with that chase scene. I did not need to see her get locked up for drunk driving either. I would have liked to learn more about her through her parenting. Now we see Carrington Lane go to Sebastian's house. Sebastian is her daughter's father. And I was so confused by this scene. I was confused by a lot of parts in this episode now that I think about it surrounding Carrington's character. It was just poorly written. And I just think that they were just doing too much and overcomplicating things. But anyway, Sebastian used to be her friend. He's a gay man. And where they went wrong at, apparently, and why they don't speak anymore and why Ami hasn't been in his life for the past few years is that Sebastian's ex-husband took Ami like on a walking trail or a hike or something. And he didn't have her back up inhaler, and she has bad asthma apparently, but he didn't have a backup inhaler, so Carrington sued him for child endangerment. I just thought that was a weird storyline. So after she filed that lawsuit, then she wasn't really talking to Sebastian more either at that point. So he wasn't in Ami's life, but he really wanted to be in Ami's life. But it doesn't seem like he went to the courts to do anything about being in Ami's life. Again, this scene was just pure chaos and confusion to me. But their conversation ended peacefully. She ended up just crying to him like, listen, this is me trying. I need you. I need you to be in Ami's life. She needs you to be in her life. She's having a birthday party this weekend at Magic Castle. Ooh. And I would love for you to come. And he's like, absolutely, I will be there. So he does seem like a really nice guy. And hopefully he can help Carrington out with his daughter. Now we're getting towards the end of the episode. And the end of the episode was really strong, in my opinion. We see detectives, they go to the law firm and they want to question Allura. They have warrants to search through her devices and everything. So they go in a conference room and in a lady detective, I forgot her name at this point, but she's talking to Allura. And Allura is like, why me? Why are you questioning me? And she says because Allura's cell phone pinged off of a tower not too far from Mr. Walton's house the night that he was unalived. And also during this meeting, since the detectives had the warrants to look through all of the devices, they were looking at all of the software that Allura and her team were using to try to figure out Mr. Walton's identity. And Allura was like, why are you just questioning me? Why aren't you questioning my whole team then? And the detective says, like, we're going to get to everybody. We're just starting with you, but we're not done just yet. And in my head, I'm like, who killed Mr. Walton? This is the storyline that I want to know about. This is where they lost the plot completely. This episode should have kicked off with this scene right here. And then we could have got a little bit of less Carrington Lane in this episode as well, and more of the whodunit part of this show. But anyway, if you ask me, I think Dena had something to do with it. But that's another story. But Dena comes in and she tells Allura that she's done. She should not be talking to any cops. And I'm surprised that Allura doesn't know this. She's a lawyer. She should not be talking to them without legal counsel. So that conversation ends right then and there with the detectives. But the end of this episode ends with a scene from Glenn Close. And Glenn Close is just still that girl. Her acting is just top tier. Her husband, Dougie, whom she loves very much, finally told her that the doctor said that he only has a few weeks to live. He has cancer and he won't be alive much longer. And Dena starts crashing out. She's so emotional. She just goes down to the kitchen to make a cup of hot tea, but she just starts slamming everything. She slams down the vase. She slams down cups, glasses, everything. But her performance was phenomenal in this scene. And all throughout this show so far, all 5 episodes where we got to see Glenn Close, she's still that girl. And her love for Dougie, you could really feel their love right through the screen. So it'll be sad once we see Dougie go. But anyway, guys, that's how the episode ends. And make sure you comment down below. How did you like this episode? Were you feeling it? Do you feel like this episode fell a little bit flat? Did you want them to continue on the whodunit storyline a little bit more like I did? Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. And make sure you tap in for the next All's Fair review / recap. See you next time. Peace.